Some people leave your life, but somehow they never leave your mind. Years pass. You change your routine. You meet new people. You try to move forward, but one random song, one late night thought, one memory you didn't ask for, and suddenly you're emotionally back there again. Back in that moment. Back in that pain. Back in a version of yourself you thought you already healed from. And the worst part? You don't even fully understand why. Why your mind keeps reopening old chapters. Why certain memories still feel emotionally alive. Why part of you still feels trapped in a past that no longer exists. Because being emotionally stuck in the past usually has nothing to do with time. It has everything to do with unfinished emotions. Most people think healing means forgetting. It doesn't. Sometimes you remember something because your mind never got to emotionally finish the experience. Maybe nobody apologized. Maybe nobody explained why they changed. Maybe you never got closure. Maybe you were forced to move on before you were ready. So your mind keeps returning to the memory, hoping to finally make sense of it. Think about that for a second. Some people are not attached to the past itself. They're attached to the emotions they never got to process. That's why emotionally sensitive people replay conversations in their head for years. Not because they're weak, because their brain is still searching for emotional resolution. And this usually starts much earlier than people realize. A child who grows up feeling ignored learns to emotionally hold on to moments very tightly. Because when emotional connection feels rare, your mind treats memories like survival tools. You start memorizing little things. The tone of someone's voice, the way someone looked at you, the day someone suddenly became cold. Not because you want to, because emotionally your brain learned this. If I understand what happened, maybe I can stop getting hurt. That's why some people become overthinkers later in life. Not because they enjoy thinking too much, but because their mind became trained to search for emotional danger before it happens again. And eventually, the past becomes a place your mind keeps visiting for protection, even when it hurts. There's also another reason people stay emotionally stuck in the past. Sometimes the past was the last time they truly felt something deeply. That relationship, that friendship, that version of themselves. Maybe life feels emotionally numb now, so the brain keeps revisiting old pain because at least it still feels emotionally alive there. Read that again in your mind. Sometimes people hold on to painful memories because numbness feels even worse. And nobody really talks about this part. You can miss people who hurt you. You can miss toxic situations. You can miss versions of yourself that were suffering. Because the human brain confuses emotional intensity with emotional importance. That's why emotionally unavailable people often become unforgettable. They gave you small moments of love mixed with pain, and your brain became emotionally addicted to the unpredictability. One day they cared deeply. The next day they pulled away. And your mind never fully relaxed after that. So even years later, part of you is still mentally waiting for an explanation that may never come. Pause for a moment and think about this honestly. Are you actually missing the person? Or are you missing the emotional meaning you attach to them? Because those are two completely different things. A lot of people are not grieving the relationship. They're grieving the future they imagined, the version of themselves they thought they would become, the safety they hoped to finally feel. And when those dreams collapse suddenly, the mind struggles to accept reality. So it keeps replaying the past like a movie that was never supposed to end that way. But here's something important. Being emotionally stuck does not mean you're broken. It usually means a part of you still feels emotionally unheard. And healing begins when you stop asking, why can't I move on? And start asking, what emotion inside me still needs attention? Because sometimes it's not love keeping you attached. Sometimes it's abandonment. Sometimes it's guilt. Sometimes it's confusion. Sometimes it's the younger version of you still hoping someone finally chooses them. And that realization changes everything. Because once you understand what your pain is truly connected to, the memory slowly loses its control over you. Not instantly, but gradually. You stop romanticizing what hurt you. You stop chasing explanations that never came. You stop reopening emotional wounds just to feel connected to something familiar. And one day, you think about the past without emotionally living inside it. That's when healing quietly begins, not when the memory disappears, but when it no longer controls who you are becoming.